Coming up on today's episode, what kind of home theater would Robert buy if price was no object? Justin Sluss from High Def Disc News joins us. Our top 5 so bad they're good horror movie picks and the Blu-ray releases for the week of October 27, 2009. This is HD Nation.
HD Nation.
Today's episode is brought to you by Gamefly, Squarespace, and GoDaddy.com.
Welcome to HD Nation. I'm Robert Herron.
And I'm Patrick Norton. HD Nation is your guide to the best in HD content and the best in home theater gear, no matter what your budget is. Blu-ray, online, satellite, cable, over-the-air, hard drive, thumb drive. If it's in HD, we likes it.
Yeah.
I've been obsessed with looking at the film grain in The Patriot.
Really?
Yeah, not the whole retelling of the American whole revolution. It's actually, I've been noticing film grain.
Is it? You're not talking like the digitally added film grain, or are you talking about something that was actually shot on film and then transferred? And
I'm pretty sure that's the one.
awesome.
It's just been watching
not like
the film
the 300 ep effect, where basically they applied a film grain.
No. This was not. I'm pretty sure this was not intentionally applied. It was
Good
one of those
deal.
things where you'd be like, oh.
Do you like film grain?
I do and I don't. It was really funny because I spent so much time watching DVDs and so much time watching television that's been shot digitally, I think it's been shot digitally. It was really, there was a hard transition. I had to go see a movie in a theater, which I hadn't done in forever. And I was like, oh, film grain. And then I was like, I remember film grain because I used to see a lot of movies in the theater.
It's getting harder nowadays with digital projection cinema and everything like that. It's they're going to have to add grain if you ever want to see it again, except for the old flicks. We'll always have grain there.
We'll always have the grain.
I always make it a point to turn off any noise reduction on a TV, just so that if there is grain in the source material, I'll see it. And I don't want the TV to accidentally try to fight that.
We're going to be talking a little bit more about where grain comes from when Justin Sluss shows up a little later on. He's actually from High Def Disc News.
Awesome.
You have picked out some delightful, actually you have one big delightful story for the news today.
I did. Let's see, the market research company, the MPD Group, has issued its 2009, quote-unquote, household TV inventory report.
They went to everyone's homes.
They did. Actually, they had about 3,000 people participate, consumers, that participated in its online poll, and 77% of them said that screen size was the most important criteria for a new HDTV purchase.
They all want 65-inch televisions, right?
If you're looking at anything, you're looking to upgrade size from your tube to something big and rectangular. And of the screens that people are looking at, it seems that 40-inch screens are the sweet spot.
Sorry, I can hear somebody in the control room going, that's what she said.
Oh. However, a quarter of the people surveyed indicated that they wanted screen sizes at least 50 inches.
Really?
Possibly larger, which is really nice. And the second most important thing that people want in a new HD TV, can you guess? Can you guess? Maybe? Anyway.
1080p?
Well, they are citing... Exactly. Good guess. Good guess.
I
Resolution was
cheated.
the second most important thing. A full 71% of the respondents cited that it is extremely or very important to their purchasing or their purchase of a new TV.
I would love to actually read the actual questions that were asked over the phone. Have you ever had a phone survey?
Not that I've sat through and finished, no.
Yeah.
Although I have friends who've received free beds for participating. That's another story there. But anyway, since January, here's my favorite part of the whole news story. MPD's retail tracking service showed that the average price for 40 and 42-inch flat panel televisions has decreased by 27%. And that's essentially going from an average price of about $1,150 down to about $838. And that's just since the beginning of the year for 2009. And the same thing applied to 50 and 52-inch flat panel TVs as well. A 27% price reduction since the beginning of the year.
This is what we call the consumer electronics adoption curve, where there's a small amount of sales, but they're spending more money, to spending less money, but there are usually more sales as the technology becomes
There have also
rampantly
been some
pursued by
new
everybody.
plants to come online as well that are increasing just production. The number of TVs being produced should
So
go
there's
up.
finally going to be an all-American produced HDTV?
No. No. Between the Koreans and the Japanese, they've got us covered though, so we're good. Oh, there are also the Chinese are in there too, but that's okay.
It's always Vizio.
The world is good.
Oh my goodness. Hey, in episode 14 a couple of weeks ago, we were drooling over the 1.2-inch thin LG SL90 series LCD. HD Nation viewer Andrew C. from San Diego dropped an email to mention that the new Panasonic Viera Z1 series plasma is now in stores, and it features a cabinet depth of just 1 inch. Not 1.2 inches thick, 1 inch thin. It also features wireless input. It is a mere $5,500 for a 54.1-inch 1080p screen.
$100 an inch.
$100 an inch.
It's awesome. That's their premium. That's their top
It's like
of the line
$100
plasma
a cubic
panel.
inch, actually.
Yeah, but if you're just doing diagonal measurements, but it's only available in one size.
Well, yeah, that's
54 inches. Oh, a little over that. But the good folks over at HD Guru managed to get their hands on one and did a quick review of it. Pretty good review, actually. And they mentioned that the screen surface, my favorite part, it's actually producing a very good black level, and its screen surface is no longer a sheet of glass on the surface of the panel, but a bonded piece of probably optical grade plastic, similar to what the Pioneer Kuro televisions that we all know and love had pioneered, basically. Pioneered a great plasma technology, and Panasonic seems to be picking up the speed.
Will you be calling Panasonic for a review unit?
I really do. I think so. Just to show people, here's a 1-inch thick panel, but more importantly, here's one of the competing wireless HD technologies as well. So that
when you say wireless HD, you're talking wireless HD in what sense? They give you a box to put next to
you have a separate input
player?
box that you stack with your other components, like your Blu-ray player and your cable satellite box and whatnot, and that all plugs into there. And then it wirelessly transmits all the video that is being inputted into that AV box to the television set. So the only wire you really need going to the TV is just power.
So there's basically, wireless HD is becoming a reality, and not just for like super expensive Gettner boxes.
Oh, totally, totally. We're also looking at, I want to say Sony introduced the XBR10. That'll be out later this year. That has its own wireless technology built into the set as well.
I gotta say, if you guys are curious, email us. We want to know what you think about basically wireless HD connections, if they're exciting for you, if you want to see us compare some of the ones that are aftermarket versus the ones that are coming with TVs. We should also say, yes, the Western Digital TV Live is on its way to us. We'll be reviewing that shortly. You guys have been asking about it. We've got LG's new, well, actually the Blu-ray player is not new. LG's Blu-ray player that just added Vudu, which is a online streaming HD video source that has some pretty amazing quality. That's coming up next week. And we have a roundup of all of the available, or at least all the major players in Blu-ray PC software playback. Those are all coming up in the next couple of weeks. So just to let you guys know. Coming up next?
Coming up next. Hey, we have our list of terribly awesome scary movies, but first, let's thank one of our sponsors.
Time to thank one of our sponsors, Gamefly. Gamefly is the largest online video game rental service and offers a choice of over 6,000 new and classic titles across all consoles and handhelds. With plans starting at $15.95 a month, Gamefly members can rent 1 to 4 games at a time and keep them for as long as they like. No late fees, no due dates, and shipping is always free. Once you're done playing a game, send it back and Gamefly will send you the next available game on your list. If you really like a game you're playing, simply click Keep It on the Gamefly website and the game is yours at a discounted price. Gamefly will even mail you the case and manuals free of charge. As an HD Nation fan, you can get a free 2-week trial by going to www.gamefly.com/HDNation. Some restrictions apply. See the site for details. And do us a favor here at HD Nation. Support us by supporting our sponsors, like Gamefly.
It's time for our top 5 list, and because it's the season for it, we're bringing you the top 5 so bad it's good horror movies. Movies that certainly won't frighten you, but they might make you just die laughing because they are that bad. And here to contribute his expertise in his field of terrible movies, our producer Roger Chang. Where should we start?
Well, you know, terrible movies are a dime a dozen, but terrible horror movies that make you laugh, well, they're a little rare to find. But I'm going to start off with White Noise. Now, what was supposed to be a horror movie turned out to be a big kind of schlocky, I'm not scared, I'm not interested. The only interesting part is where Michael Keaton, the hero of the movie, goes kind of ape crazy and starts buying all these TVs and starts unboxing them because he basically wants to connect with the undead, his undead wife, via the power of static on TV. So basically when you get snow, there are messages that come from the beyond.
Now, is this any kind of homage to Poltergeist, or is it just...
I wish.
Okay.
Please.
No.
Not that good.
Not that cool.
Not that good.
Not that cool.
But it's funny enough that you'll basically look, oh, why are the ghosts look like aliens from AI? But go ahead.
Oh, number 2, The Big Bad Wolf.
The Big Bad Wolf. Never heard of this movie. I found it via Netflix HD streaming. And you know what? I couldn't stop laughing. This movie takes the premise of a family member is a big bad werewolf and he's going to eat me, or rather eat me and my friends. But they actually add a lot more to it. They basically take the half-naked, horny teenager in the cabin routine in slasher, and they mix the two. So basically you have this werewolf that goes around raping women, killing guys, and throwing out really bad stale one-liners. And it's so funny. It's ridiculous. You know, the stuff he says is so lewd I can't say it right now, but I guarantee you if you watch it, you're going to love it.
Good for a laugh.
Yes.
Must be. Number 3 on our list, we have Freddy versus Jason.
Right.
Now,
Yes, Freddy versus Jason. You have two of the best franchise badasses. You have Freddy Krueger and you have Jason Voorhees. Unfortunately, they managed to take those two characters and put them in a Dr. Phil episode.
not good.
No.
Not good in my book.
So basically, we learned the origins of Jason Voorhees, and it's really not that scary. In fact, it's kind of Dr. Philly.
You mean too much Dr. Phil, not enough hack and slash?
Yeah, well, the hack and slash wasn't even the good part. It's
You jump at least once.
It's when when the characters actually go in to the subconscious of the basically the embodiment of evil. I find ridiculous, but it's funny. It's so funny. Trying to understand evil. Come on.
Well, could be the point. Number 4, a movie close to my heart, Cloverfield.
Yes, it was J.J. Abrams' attempt at making an American Godzilla, and he basically wanted to do it with an American kind of twist to it. So he did it with the shaky cam, you know, the cinema verte where someone has a video camcorder running through the entire movie.
One of the main characters of the movie actually holds the camera, and you never see his face, at least until way later in the movie.
So the first quarter of the movie is great. It has suspense, has action. It's basically the other 3/4 of it that's absurd, ridiculous, and parts of it where you're just basically slamming the palm of your hand into your forehead saying, whatever.
Oh, I liked it for two reasons. One, the action sequences. Just watching at least a digital representation of Manhattan just get shredded. That and a pretty dark ending to the movie. And I don't know, I kind of like it when it isn't all just happy flowers and puppy dogs.
I don't want a happy ending, but the ending was pretty much like, yeah, serves you right, buddy. Why don't you think before you act?
Gotcha. Okay. Number 5 on our list, we have Gangs of the Dead.
Gangs of the Dead. Oh my God, this is a blue light special if I've ever seen one. I also found this through Netflix HD streaming, and so basically, 2 gangs are meeting in a warehouse to buy weapons from this weapons dealer. But at the same time, a comet hits the earth and turns these homeless bums into zombies. These zombies invade the warehouse where they're at, and all action and absurdity break loose. So first of all, the gangsters are anything but. They're basically too eloquent, they're too articulate, and the Latino gangster actually has no tats whatsoever.
That's
ridiculous.
Limited credibility for the gangster
No credibility whatsoever. And you know, you have lines like where bums are eating cops outside. What's happening?
What the hell is that about, man? Bums out there eating cops.
I think is pretty funny. The special effects are straight out of community college, but it's so bad it will have you in stitches by the end.
That's redeeming, I will say that. And because this is HD Nation, we cannot stop at just number 5, of course. We have number 6. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yes, this is Serafina's favorite. It was made in 1997 with Jennifer Love Hewitt, Freddie Prinze Jr. It was kind of the hallmark of what every 90s slasher flick was. It was riding on the coattails of Scream, and I Know What You Did Last Summer became one of the most parodied horror movies with all the scary movies. Scary Movie 1, 2, 3, 5, 8 billion. It's just so ludicrous and so absurd that if you watch it, you would probably do more chuckling and laughing than you would screaming. So
I give the Nelson laugh.
Now, if you enjoy that, you should actually catch episode 12 of HD Nation when Film Riot's Ryan Connolly was here and gave his 5 top scary movies in HD.
Good deal.
So,
all right, enough of the old. Let's see what's new in Blu-ray. The new releases for October 27th, 2009 are Battlestar Galactica, The Plan, Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs, The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue, Monty Python, Almost the Truth, the 6-hour documentary that aired on IFC last week. Oh yes. Night of the Creeps, Nothing Like the Holidays, Orphan, The Prisoner, the complete series, Stan Helsing, Tinkerbell and the Lost Treasure, and Whatever Works. Coming up next, Patrick interviews Justin Sluss from High Def Disc News. But first, let's take a moment to thank one of our sponsors, Squarespace. Here to tell us more is our intern, Kaylee.
Hello, Kaylee the intern here to tell you about Squarespace. Did you know that most employers will do a Google search on their job candidates before hiring? That goes for interns too. Now, before getting my internship here at Revision 3, I wanted something out there online that would represent me in a professional way. That's where Squarespace came in. And there were a few music blogs out there that really caught my eye with their clean, colorful, yet sort of minimalist design, and I wanted to model my site after them. After buying KayleeEmerson.com, I started by picking one of Squarespace's designer templates and adjusting the layout, block positioning, colors, and more until I was happy with what I had on screen. Then, after some feedback from my Twitter followers, I had a beautiful finished product in a little corner of the internet I was proud to call my own. I didn't have to do any of the coding, Squarespace handled all the back work. Now, I built my site from scratch, but if you already have a blog or website somewhere else, you can use Squarespace's shiny new blog importer tool. Right now, it's the only thing out there like it. It will bring over all of your WordPress, Blogger, TypePad, and movable type posts and pages over to Squarespace with just one click. It will also migrate all of your comments, tags, authors, media, and search engine optimizations so you won't lose your Google PageRank. And for all you HD Nation fans, use the code HDNation to get 10% off of your entire account for life. That leaves you with pretty much no excuse to keep putting off building your own website. So go to squarespace.com and use the code HDNation now.
We love watching movies on Blu-ray, but our next guest watches them for a living. He's the founder and editor-in-chief at HighDefDiscNews.com, one of our favorite Blu-ray reviewers. Welcome to HD Nation, Justin Sluss. Justin, man.
What's up, dude?
Not much. I gotta ask, it sounds like a dream job for a movie fan, but you must go nuts. I mean, do you play the same scene over and over trying to figure out what's going on in a transfer?
I'll be honest with you, last night I was doing that. I was watching Transformers 2. I bought the Walmart exclusive of that. And you'll see stuff when it comes to high def, you know, the CG or the prosthetics for makeup and stuff show off in high def that you've never seen before, and they look horrible. And it like, if you don't have like a campy like love for the movie, you're probably not gonna like be happy with what you see sometimes.
I've been amazing watching, like, question we often get is like, how come 80s movies look awful? And you have to explain, like, because they were shot on the world's cheapest film stock and they weren't properly stored and no one cares about them.
You know, most 70s movies and 80s movies have the soft tone to them,
right.
And that's almost always the case. Even, you know, even with the best restorations, 70s movies will usually have a soft tone, and 80s movies as well. Some people will try to say that, you know, that's an excuse to say the transfer is bad, but you can only do so much with the source material to something.
Well, let's talk about transfer quality, how that varies, and how it impacts the Blu-ray movies. I mean, what's the worst case scenario? Somebody takes it. Has anybody ever taken a DVD transfer and just thrown it on a Blu-ray and pretended it was high def?
I could name 2 titles, yes. And I wouldn't go into detail with like too much on it, but I will name the titles, and I don't want the studios to hate me for this. First of all, Gangs of New York. Mm-hmm. The transfer to edit was just really horrible. Then you've got RoboCop, which is kind of an iconic movie for the, I believe, the late 80s or 90s.
Gangs of New York, it's weird to think of of all people, Martin Scorsese, something that he directed, kind of not having a decent release. The guy that's really fighting for the preservation of cinema in the United States. It's kind of like, how'd that happen?
Really, it's really odd that you mentioned that, because there's BlueCon 2.0 coming up here. I'm not going to be attending it, but I think Scorsese's going to be speaking at it, of all things. Isn't that ironic? But most of Scorsese's stuff, to be honest with you, really looks good. You know, yeah. Goodfellas looks great.
Goodfellas is fantastic. Goodfellas was the thing that made me realize that I was going to, as soon as I had the cash, I was buying an HD DVD player. So when you're looking at movies, do you find like sound or video compression creating more problems, or you know, companies paying more attention, or studios paying more attention to one or the other, or is, generally speaking, everybody doing a pretty good job?
Some studios will pay more attention to the audio, putting a lot of different language tracks. If you've noticed, I don't know if you've ever looked at the amount of language tracks in a Sony release. Mm-hmm. It's like astounding. There's like almost 20. It's like every spoken language on the planet. Mm-hmm. Usually you'll only find one lossless mix on there. There's been a few releases like Close Encounters of the Third Kind that actually contain 2 different mixes. It had a DTS HD master audio and a Dolby True HD. That's the competing, you know, sound codecs that you usually don't see but one of those on a release. There's only a few titles that get that type of treatment.
I have to say, I was really excited when the Wizard of Oz restoration came out that they had the original mono track in there, because I thought I
knew that over the 5.1. I thought the 5.1 was a good effort. Sometimes I'll think the 5.1 effort or 7.1 effort or vice versa there's only so much you can do with something that was taken from like a wax cylinder recording, you know.
Well, what's the most challenging when you're looking at a video? Are you looking for? I mean, what are the things you notice the most? The compression, the quality, maybe if they've skimped out on the bandwidth in a particular scene. I mean, are there any consistent errors that we should be watching out for, or just trying to, you know? Because I also noticed once I learned about certain types of compression noise, I couldn't not see them anymore, which drives me kind of nuts.
Yeah, it's like if you've seen where something was filmed and then you watch the movie, you can't take it like completely seriously again. When you see the film problems and stuff like you're saying, you know, you look at it completely different. It's usually film grain is the biggest thing if it's from a 35 millimeter, super 35 millimeter source these days with newer films. It's getting to where most films are being shot on digital or something like the Panavision 35. I mean the Panavision Genesis rather, or something like the Red One camera or something like that, or IMAX, God forbid. They look flawless. Like in Dark Knight, when it switches to IMAX, your eyes light up. You don't have to look for that. But when you're talking about flaws and stuff, there's stuff like cigarette burns and stuff that don't ever get removed. I mean, you know, something like Baraka that was shot on 70 millimeter film that was scanned at 8K. That's obviously going to blow The Wizard of Oz away because it's got many years on it. First of all, it's got tons of technology.
Right. What are your top or High Def Disc News top HD flicks and why? What are your favorites? What are the ones that have you just really stoked?
If we're talking stuff that's out right now, I have to honestly say Wizard of Oz. I've said it a couple times. There's one coming out next month that's going to blow that away to a degree. Especially if you're an Alfred Hitchcock fan. North by Northwest just got it today. I actually watched that when I went to CEDIA and prepped myself for that. I watched the DVD of it and popped it in today, and it is night and day. It is amazing. Even the sound is amazing. I can't wait to see Up, stuff like that. Love WALL-E. Love Ratatouille. Actually got to meet Brad Bird. That movie is a classic.
Absolutely.
It just jumps off the screen. It has what we call, quote unquote, 3D pop, where you don't even have to have a television with a 3D display to feel like it has some depth to it, and it really feels like my hand's gonna come out at you. You can do that, especially in stuff that's computer generated. Transformers 2 is a great example of that.
Justin, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
No problem, man. Keep up the good work and tuning in.
We'll do our best, man. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Justin Sluss. You can find more of his work and the guys that write with him over at highdefdiscnews.com. It's good stuff. Check it out. Coming up next, we got some questions, but first, let's thank one of our sponsors. Get reliable, secure web hosting without a long-term contract. GoDaddy's hosting plans are bigger and better than ever with 99% uptime, free 24/7 support, and no annual commitment. GoDaddy.com makes it easy to customize your own virtual dedicated server. Choose one of 3 popular plans or select your own Linux or Windows server with all the plan options you need. Use the code HDN2 to get $5 off any order of $30 or more. Some restrictions do apply. See the site for details, and be sure to check out revision3.com/GoDaddy for all the HD Nation GoDaddy deals and codes. Do us a favor, get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com and use an HDN code when you do. You'll be helping us out. What's the ultimate unhinged costless no object HD home theater system?
I don't know.
I know what I'd want, at least for the screen, but we'll let Mr. Heron answer this one first. Mike from St. John's writes in, if you were to suddenly find yourself with an unlimited stream of money, and I like that thought, what televisions would you buy? Thanks, Mike from Newfoundland, Canada. He's a Newfie. There's a Newfie in the house.
Nice. Well, if I had unlimited funds, what would I roll with? First thing I'd have to do is design a custom room and have it built. I want a room that utterly isolates me from sound, either inside or outside. I don't want to disrupt my neighbors. If I have any, maybe not. If I have unlimited funds, I probably have no neighbors. But ideally, if anybody's in the house, I don't want to be disrupted by noises coming from outside as well. So room environment, I want the room just right. That includes seating and everything else. Second, true HDTV or true cinema for the home should be on a projection screen. So that's where I'm going to go right there. And if I have to pick one, I would probably delve right into Stewart film screen. They make the Cinecurve screen. It's the one that has a nice curve to it, so that if you sit in just the right spot, there's all sorts of technical reasons why you would want a curved screen, but I think it just looks really cool. And of course, I got to have the automatic masking panel. So if I'm watching 4:3 material, the little black velvet or whatever material it's made of will automatically just slide in for me as soon as that's being projected to make it all just so. Equipment-wise, I'm going to take the easy way out on this. A company called Meridian out of the UK, they make only high-end performance products for the home theater systems. And they obviously, well, they also have what they call their ultimate reference movie system. And it includes my favorite $180,000 10 megapixel 810 reference video projector system. That's 4096 by 2400 pixels, custom DILA chips right from JVC. JVC makes a similar projector, but why not just get it from Meridian? Anyway, I would select the motorized 235:1 CinemaScope lens. It also includes Marvell's video processing technology so that when you're recreating, say, an additional 8 million pixels for your 2K content, you got something really good generating that stuff. It also includes, arguably one of my favorite parts, 7.1 digital loudspeaker system. Now, the speakers actually have the amps built into them, and you run an actual digital cable right to the speaker itself. It looks awesome. They don't even put prices for any of this stuff, so I'm assuming quite a bit. But in addition to 7.1, I would want I want 16 subwoofers. I gotta have that. I want 4
WTF 16 subwoofers.
I want 4 stacks of 4, and I want them on each of the null points on the sides of the wall and the center points of each wall. So I'm canceling out the nulls, but
why
16.
4? Why 4
Well,
times
the
4?
cover each point, and then 16 is just a nice number. You stack 4 rather than having like say 4 massive ones. I'd rather have 16 smaller ones.
Now you're just getting weird, dude.
Well, it's an unlimited budget here. And I'm guessing just for the hardware I've listed, and maybe the room, I could do it all for about $500,000 to $750,000, including furnishings. Now, audio's crazy. You can spend all you want there. The projection system alone is going to set me back close to 200 grand, and that's not even covering calibration, setup, or the room being built. Anyway.
Yeah,
I can dream big.
And he is dreaming big. I'm not even going to bother to list anything. I'd like to maybe send Goldman after I buy some land or a house in San Francisco. I would like Goldman to like design me my bunker, my concrete bunker in my home.
The Swiss company?
That's a Swiss company.
You hand them a pile of cash and they'll go, well, just step back. And
several months later, and God knows how many permits.
They drive you in with a blindfold and say, ta-da.
Yeah, you know what? The truth is, right now, I live in a 700 square foot like micro house in San Francisco, so all I really want is enough space so that I can play a movie after 8 o'clock and not wake up the baby. That's actually my real fantasy for the ultimate home theater.
You got a fire hose of money coming at you.
Well, in which case, there'll be space.
The nanny takes care of the kid. You got a separate house for that.
No nanny for the kid.
You got a separate space for the home theater room.
I've met nanny-raised children.
You need a home theater room. You need a dedicated sound-isolated cinema room, so you don't wake the kid up. And at the same point, if the kid's screaming, you can put him in there. And hopefully he doesn't wreck $250,000 worth of hardware.
I'm going to move us right along to the next question, ladies and gentlemen. On the audio front, this is a good one. Thanks to your surround sound episode, I'm hoping to pick up the Gallo Micro TI 5.1 set to upgrade my system. However, I need a new AV receiver to handle Dolby HD and DTS master audio. I was curious if you would recommend getting a combo such as Pioneer's VSX-1019AH-K or Onkyo's SR607 and the new Oppo BDP83, or skipping the Oppo because he's got a non-slim PS3 and spending the equivalent cash on the receiver. Thank you a ton, Damien. Dude's been reading CNET's reviews.
Oh,
those
good.
are like the Onkyo and the Pioneer are like the top 2 reviewed AV receivers.
Totally, and they're good values too. They incorporate things like audio-video switching, so you just run all your components right into that. One cable to the display, and it handles pretty much every codec that's out there right now. So your Dolby True HD and your DTS HD master audio tracks from your Blu-ray movies, they're going to sound pretty darn good. And you don't have. The nice thing is when you plug a PS3 into a receiver like that, it does a quick check to see what audio formats are supported. You pretty much get every one of them, which is really great. The only downside to that setup might be, it depends how you want to control everything, but you'll have to add some additional hardware to the PlayStation 3 in order to use a universal remote with it, unfortunately. It doesn't have an integrated IR port, and it doesn't have a serial control, and it doesn't have built-in. I wish you could use the Bluetooth somehow to control it. Maybe somebody's doing a controller that'll do that.
Well, there is a Bluetooth remote control. The Logitech Harmony has actually a pretty good adapter for that for the PS3.
That would be
that would be a way to do that. Pioneer's solid mid-range surround sound receiver. I'd choose it over the Onkyo, though I think either one will sound pretty good in the $500 range. Your speakers, by the way, at this point will be grossly outclassing that receiver. They'll probably sound great, but I would definitely, if you had a chance, try to listen to both of them at home theater setting in a store. I would listen to Denon's AVR 1910 too. CNET wasn't too impressed with the audio quality, but I noticed a lot of users rank it higher than the editors, which could be some astroturfing, could be people who own it and don't like to see their stuff trashed, broadcast, or sometimes is a case where the audio reviewer does not like the sound of a receiver. I would also spend some time in some of the more high-end AV stores in your area and see what some of the more high-end stuff sounds like. It's tough. It's really tough outside of your own house and your own room to demo the difference in something, but it can be really interesting to hear what high-end stuff sounds like compared to the mid-fi stuff, or the affordable stuff, we should say, that you can pick up in your Best Buy or Amazon.com.
And totally, no matter where you go, make sure that whoever you shop with has an ample return policy in case you end up with either component you're not going to use. Like, say you bought an extra speaker and it's like, you know what, I think I'm not going to go with the center channel. I'm just going to go with 2 stereo speakers. Right. Or if there's a problem with anything. So just ensure that who you shop with is worth your money.
Definitely. Totally. Hey, one last question. Derek writes in, I'm getting ready to move into a house where the living room has 24 feet of glass sliding doors.
There's a good view there.
It better be a good view. It's nice and bright in the day, Derek says, but it's also really bright. Any suggestions for a television that will cut through all that sunlight pouring in during the day, but still have good contrast and color when I watch movies at night? That is a challenge.
Totally.
I'm thinking like you may want to invest in curtains that cover all 24 feet of those windows. I can see you just running that bomb-proof curtain down there.
I actually have a friend who has a similar, not a similar room environment, but literally about, say, 20 feet of windows along the
I've got about 15 feet of
south-facing wall of the house, and his display is right in the corner there, so the room gets pretty bright, but there's not direct light on the surface of the screen itself. So.
I'd say you're almost, in this case, always going to go with an LCD flat panel.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Unless you can afford to do some crazy projection stuff, and you're going super big screen. Like anyway, the easy answer is
a reflective screen, a multiplying reflective
LCD.
Screen, like a Stewart or one of the other high-end screens.
You could get something that bumps the gain up a little bit, or you could do multiple projectors. I'm still thinking $250,000 budget here.
You're going to synchronize 4 projectors
all at the same
on
point.
A reflective screen.
Or rear projection system, maybe.
Ooh, anyway. You just need to build a wall behind that to put the rear projection.
The easy answer, like you mentioned, would be an LCD panel of whatever size you need, but the screen surface is really what you want to pay attention to. I would avoid the contrast-enhancing, shiny surfaces that you'll see on lots of panels from companies like, I guess Samsung was one of the companies to really pioneer this technology with their ultra-clear panel technology. It does wonders for improving contrast, picture contrast, but at the same point, it makes the screen more reflective. Likewise, I would avoid something like that SL90 LCD that we looked at from LG a couple shows ago that had the glass surface on it. Same issue you're going to run into. You want something that's matte finished to really minimize harsh reflections.
If I am the 24 feet of window, where in a relationship to me do you want to put the television? Obviously not opposite me and probably not against me, or is it better to have, I mean, I'm thinking
you
like,
might not have a choice of where you want it to go. If you don't have a choice, you're going to end up with some kind of direct light on the surface of the panel. The thing you really want to try to do then is to avoid things like black bars or pillar bars on the screen, because anytime the screen is black like that, it really enhances the mirror-like effect of a plasma. You'll notice the reflections a lot more than it would be if you're looking at full frame 16:9 image on a 16:9 screen. You'll notice that with just about any, even the reflective screens look okay if you can fill the whole screen with a bright picture. It's when you have to minimize that, or you're looking at non-16:9 material, that you can then really start to notice, oh my goodness, I'm seeing everything except the picture.
That would be bad.
Annoying.
Oh my goodness. Curtains. I wonder if they still make that. Do you ever see the car stereo stuff for a while? They did where they had the LCD and you would panel and they would have like a box with the amplifiers behind it or the subwoofers, and with the LCD panel off you could see them. With it on, it would turn black.
Oh yeah.
You could do it in all 24 feet of those windows. It shouldn't cost you more than $7–8 million.
And one quick setup tip though for an LCD in an environment like that, if it's going to be a very bright room, get an LCD panel that has the room light sensor in it, so that during the day it sees, wow, it's a bright room, I'm going to turn up the backlight all the way, and then at night maybe you're just using lamplight or lighting for the room, and it's not as bright, it will automatically dim that picture to not only improve your contrast perception in a dark room, but it will also reduce your energy consumption, probably upwards of 50%.
I noticed in my house, if all of the lights were off, it was actually way too bright, even with it, because it did a pretty good job adjusting from sort of a evening with the lights on to daylight with the windows open, but as soon as you turn the lights out, your eye it was like staring into a flashlight. It was still too bright.
See, my TV has the opposite problem. It's like it's fine for nighttime, but when the lights come on in the room, I don't feel like it takes it up to the maximum setting. Like I wish it was more adjustable for the room light sensor. I wish all TVs had an adjustment for that, because
we need more
We need more adjustments, the things to tinker with.
More range, people.
Yes.
We want to tell you about App Judgment. It's rockin', people. It's our mobile phone application reviews show for the iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry. This week, Annie reviews Rock Band for the iPhone, and we pack 6 apps into a single episode for the second 30-second challenge. Catch new app reviews every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can find them all at revision3.com/appjudgment. Oh my goodness, we're done, dude.
I know.
We're out of tape.
We are.
We gotta go.
The tape is spinning away. Anyway, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode of HD Nation. As always, we want to know what you think. So do send us your comments, questions, or suggestions to hdnation@revision3.com.
You can hang out with other viewers in the HD Nation forums at revision3.com/forum.
And head over to revision3.com/hdnation for show notes and links to everything we talked about on today's episode. And you'll also find all the links to subscribe to the show. So if you're not getting the latest episode of HD Nation delivered to your podcatcher, what are you waiting for?
That's right. Subscribe, watch, and do us a favor, tell your friends about it. Till next time.
Thanks for watching. I'm Robert Heron.
And I'm Patrick Norton. We'll see you next week on HD Nation.